una sonrisa en la cara. Y eso transmite lo que es este pueblo, que es un pueblo solidario, que es un pueblo afectivo, que es un pueblo cariñoso. Y nos habéis hecho sentir en casa, como si sintiéramos en casa. Así que nos llevamos todo vuestro afecto y recibir también todo vuestro cariño, todo vuestro agradecimiento. Samón, por este acuerdo que haya en la historia de para siempre. Gracias por este día tan bonito, ayer y hoy. Y no tenemos muchas ganas de ir, nos queremos quedar aquí, pero creo que vamos a tener que volver a nuestras casas. Muchísimas gracias por todo. Sois un país maravilloso y una gente excepcional.
Thank you. My question is to the Your Excellency Commissioner, EU Commissioner. Is with regards to the summit today. How much? For the next 20 years.
Mike.
And just clarify that I answered your question because I still had a difficulty to hear. So your question was that how much we are providing funding for these countries?
Yeah, under this agreement
Under
for the
this
next 20
agreement.
years.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank once more our host, Samoa, for your hospitality. This has been really amazing 2 days. When it comes to our agreement, I think it's very important and historic in a way that now we also have 3 protocols within this agreement. So it creates an opportunity to really pay more attention to regional challenges, but also opportunities through these protocols. So in the case of Pacific, while we are here, of course now we are also creating structures for our cooperation between EU and Pacific countries and states. So we have, for instance, parliamentary assembly. Within this region we have ministerial meetings, as well as we also are creating mechanisms how to include and engage and consult civil society organizations as well as business representatives within this protocol. The European Union is always working in the 7-year financial cycle. So far we can say that we know what is our budget allocation and financial allocation until the year 2027, because that is when our current financial cycle or term will end. And we are providing funding through bilateral programs as well as regional programs and thematic programs. And we have committed to provide funding, for instance, to sub-Saharan countries around 30 billion euros within our current financial cycle. So this is what we can say so far, and then of course based on political decisions taken before the year 2027, we know what will be the amount and the allocation for the future years. So this is what we can say, but there is very strong commitment from our side, of course, to finance our partnership with African countries as well as Pacific and Latin America. And what is also a new element in our partnership is that we are encouraging our private investments, our private companies to invest in these regions. Because we created this global gateway investment strategy, and through that strategy we are using public resources in order to leverage private investments. So, for instance, here in Pacific we also have certain very concrete flagships which are now funded under the global gateway strategy. So the idea is that we can increase resources to SDGs and sustainable development goals. So that's why there is a certain amount of money from the EU budget for this cooperation, but of course also our member states and hopefully more and more also private sector is going to invest in this partnership.
Europeans are paying for this organisation. And so my question is, would you like to see the ACP go further to talk about removing members who actually continue to not pay their dues to be part of this arrangement as we move forward? And my second question is about Namibia, which was the subject of a strategic partnership in October on critical raw materials and green hydrogen. Now they've come here and said they can't sign this agreement, which of course we have learned in the last year has implications for lending for EIB. So how will the Commission deliver on a €1 billion strategic partnership with Namibia if the EIB can't be operational in the country? Thank you.
I assume those questions were to me. So, first of all, of course, you all know that this negotiation process has been very long and also very difficult. So now when we are finally at the stage where we were able to sign this agreement, the new Samoa agreement, of course, from the European perspective, we really hope that all OECD countries could sign the new agreement. But in the end, it is sovereign decision taken by each and every country. So in the case of Namibia or other countries who have not yet signed the agreement, it is their sovereign decision to take. But of course we also have to understand the consequences not to sign. So if countries have not signed the agreement by the end of this year, there are two very concrete impact consequences of it. So the first one is that then those countries are not able to attend our joint parliamentary assembly, which is going to take place in February in Angola. And the second is indeed that the European Investment Bank cannot operate in those countries anymore. Because currently the Cotonou Agreement has been the legal, or so far the Cotonou Agreement has been the legal basis for the European Investment Bank, and of course the beginning of 1st of January onwards it will be the Samoa Agreement. So that's why I think it's important to still discuss with those countries which have not yet signed the agreement whether they still would like to do that by the end of this year. But as I said, and I say it once more, in the end it's the sovereign decision taken by all those countries. When it comes to financing the OACP Secretariat, of course, with this Samoa agreement, we agreed to finance the joint institutions. So the commitment is definitely there. In general, I would say that the sound financial management is key for the European Union, because the European Union is always operating with its taxpayers' money. So there has to be sound financial management and there has to be accountability. So from our side, there is a political commitment to continue financing our joint institutions, but of course we also expect that the OACP members will do its part or their part. So of course we also want to encourage the OACP members to take their part and pay their membership fees. Because we know that in the current situation, we need financial resources also for the future institutions as well as for the secretary.
Final questions? No.
I know human rights and good governance is also under the Samoa, the importance of human rights. So my question is, LGBT rights continues to be discriminated by some countries, but it's also under the human rights. So LGBT rights continues to be discriminated by some countries, which is fine under the agreement, like Samoa, of course. So with the Samoa agreement, how do you propose it can be executed as a coalition approach?
What's the problem here?
LGBT.
Yeah, do we have a problem?
It continues to be discriminated, but it's how? By some countries, which includes us, but it's also human rights, which is under the Samoa agreement.
Next question. We have one more final question.
I have a question for the EU Commissioner, please. How many in total have not signed Samoa agreement yet? And how many or whatever the reasons are for not signing this yet? And do you see that opening an office in Samoa? Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question. I think actually our minister is going to answer to your first part of the question. So how many countries have signed, because I think she has the latest figure and it's under the council responsibility from the EU perspective. But indeed we have our delegation in Fiji. And I personally think that we should definitely have stronger representation in this region, so in the Pacific. Whether we are able to open an office in Samoa, I cannot promise that. It's not under my responsibility, unfortunately. But I think in general, I definitely want to encourage our member states to strengthen and reinforce their representation in this region. I know that there are 3 member states so far, so Spain, France, and Germany. And in addition to that, of course, also the European Investment Bank now will open its office in this region. So it's also important in order to be able to attract private investments from Europe to this region. But in general, my personal very strong opinion is that we should have stronger representation and presence here. So of course, let's hope that in the future we are able to be physically present also in more countries and islands, that not only Fiji.
Thank you, Member Dominguez.
I think she's going to ask a question.
71 countries. 71 countries. And 44 and 27
That concludes our press conference. Good job. Then we already have open option. That's our only course.